This is an introduction to the Zabbix dashboard. I've just logged into Zabbix, and this is the screen I see when I first log in. We have a system information window that tells us basic information about the Zabbix server. This section here tells us how many hosts are available in the system. In this case, it's 25 hosts. And this section shows us the problems based on the level of severity. So in this case, we have 0 at the very highest level, 0 at the highest level, 1 average high severity, 7 warning severities, and 15 informational messages. So we see below this, the numbers here match up with the information down below. So if we mouse over this average number here, we see it's the very top message in the list below. In this case, is lack of available memory, less than 20 megs of 981 megabytes. So basically, the system is triggered on a low memory situation, and it's given that incident an average level of severity. I have 7 warning messages, which are also shown below. High swap space usage. Off to the right there, it shows you the duration. The duration shows you how long the warning has actually been active. So basically, these systems are in an ongoing state where their high swap space is higher than normal, higher than the desired threshold. This host has been in this status for 6 minutes, 48 seconds. This one for 14 hours, 58 minutes, and 39 seconds. So in other words, these are all still in this high swap space usage state. And then below that, we have these 15 informational messages. It says operating system description has changed. So something has changed about this entry in the system. And this happened about 2 days ago, 2 days, 8 hours ago, according to the durations here that are listed. So I'll show you in a bit that we can actually rearrange the information on this screen to make it look more appropriate for what you want to do. Notice we also have a message that's just come up. This lack of available memory message was first flagged at 5:26 p.m. And I'm going to go look at the next section, which is, we looked at the global dashboard, the overall information. We looked at the global view, which is running by default. And then we're going to look at the problem history, which we saw here. So these are the list of active problems. Now next we'll look up at the information on a specific host. So to do that, I'm going to mouse over the host name. Here I'm going to click, and I'm going to select problems. Notice these 2 problems are the problems from the previous list that are still active. One's an informational message, one's a warning message. We can also look up information on the individual host, the graphs of how they're performing on in our cluster. So I'll pick the host name here, and I'll go down to graphs. And this will show us, for example, here's the system load. And in this screen, I can actually pick the amount of time I want to see. So here's now from 1 week. So it's a week back in time. So I can also say something like, let's say the last 3 hours. I click over here, and here it shows the loading that's occurred in the last 3 hours. Here's my system load, which apparently is peaked at this point here. I can scroll down to CPU utilization, CPU usage, and jumps, basically showing how the CPU usage is spiking, and also the number of processes in use on that server. And here's a map of memory utilization. So basically here is quote 100%. This dotted line indicates at the level at which we will flag the system, saying basically we're in a dangerous situation. And notice we've got increasing memory. And apparently what's happening here is we have some processes that are running, and then that process ends, freeing up that memory, and then the system will continue to increase again until some processes end, and it will free that memory and continue. The very bottom shows this amount of swap being used. Disk read write rates. Some of these near the bottom maybe are not as relevant,
Most people are going to want to be looking at things like the CPU usage and maybe the disk utilization to try to nail down what's exactly going on in their systems. Disk waiting time. So I'm not going to worry about the rest of these. What I will mention, though, I'm going to back myself out to the dashboard again. Now, on this, I personally find this consumes a lot of space that could otherwise be better used. So you can actually make your own dashboards. So what I did is I made my own dashboard, and I did this by cloning this dashboard. So I went to this menu here, and I did a clone, and I made my own dashboard, and then I saved it. So I'm going to flip to my dashboard now, and we'll show you what that looks like. So a few things I've done. First of all, the system information panel is still here. The availability panel is now vertical rather than horizontal, which means it takes up a lot less space. The list of problems is also arranged vertically rather than horizontally, which to me makes it a little easier to read. And then here's some of the problem host information. And hosts that is found in the servers that are actually having problems are listed here. And that's the basics of the dashboard.